Good to see some faces there. They're now coming, cameras are coming off, but I love cameras on. So it's nice to see people coming through, and I would love to hear from you at the end and kind of meet a little bit of what you're interested in the program and what things are you looking for. So I'm the interior design department chair. Tina helps me a ton in the department. She's there. She's going to be always the first face that students see, the students communicate. So we really rely on a teamwork of the two of us, kind of supporting the student, greeting the student, and navigating the student through classes to all kinds of process. Need to make sure that this is, so I want to talk to you a little bit about what the interior design department teaches. The first thing that we look at is the soft skills. For us, it's critical that in any kind of industry or work that you have right now, it is important that you balance your digital skills and design skills with the soft skills. So in the department, we work on towards 3 of them. And one is leadership. The next one is teamwork, is making sure that you could work as a team, you could work with others, and you could engage others to do part of the job for you. As an interior designer, you're always specifying, you're actually submitting documents that are going to go out there, and somebody else is going to actually build out for you. So you have to make sure that you're able to work in a team, you're able to collaborate, you're able to communicate. And these days, this one is very critical, which is resilience, is the fact that we could work together, but we also can get up and keep going. And even though that sometimes the path might not be the best, we find ways to find solutions and keep moving and towards the actual goals, and to finalize and to meet what our deliverables in that point will be in terms of design. The next thing I wanted to kind of focus on is the job skills. So at the job level, there's, again, 3 main ones that we go around many, but these 3 main ones are the ones that we're going to concentrate on. And one is the design concept, making sure that you build a concept, you understand what that means and how it applies into a space environment. And how do you work with an architect, whether you're working with an architect or if you're working in color, material, transportation design, or whether you're working in exhibit and you have to work with the engineers that are going to build it out, is that you're able to communicate what that concept is, what it means, and what's going to do for your space. The material trends for us is critical. These days, we see a lot of trends and a lot of information coming towards us. Due to COVID, we're looking at very specific material trends that are being applied in spaces. Bacteria repellent, nanotechnology that is being applied on surfaces, so that the actual, it's self-cleaning, it's self-healing, so you kind of could touch those surfaces and you could feel safe. And then lastly, the job skill of design documents, which is part of that package that you build to communicate with your architect and your peers in terms of, this is my design concept, here's how we're going to build it, and here's how we're going to get together to work towards it. In the department, we work on a couple of digital skills and portfolio, of course. As you graduate, you will have a portfolio set of 4th year. You will, actually, we start on the 3rd year building your portfolio. By the 4th, you're already completed with the portfolio. But in there, we look at digital skills such as Adobe Suites, the AutoCAD, the SketchUp, the Revit, the Enscape. The 2 strong ones that you're gonna, well, actually, I would say it's 3. But AutoCAD is very strong because you're in the 2nd year, you're already introduced to the AutoCAD, the drafting. Then you move into understanding more SketchUp, which is more 3D. And then we translate all this into Revit. We're about, there's a few interior design programs teaching Revit. We're one of them. The idea of Revit is that pretty much works with the cloud, and you could communicate with many different disciplines in the drawing. So you're actually communicating, making the changes on the drawing, and it's communicating, the drawing is communicating to you and to your peers that are working together. And then VR for us, as you know, when looking and building an environment, we want to be able to put those goggles on, navigate through the environment, see it, and being active participator on what we're building. So that's VR. Design in 3 dimensions, we look at, making sure that we're working on environment, but as we look at different tracks, we work on health, education, And remember that this is about the human being, making sure that discipline of interior design is making sure that human being can be more productive, can understand how an environment impacts them, and can really understand how that is going to impact a company or an educational or whatever type of industry you go into, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education. You really want to make sure that your language of space is really embracing that human being that is going through that environment. So there's different types of careers paths. We do a lot of different things to help you through that. I'm going to give you an example. There's a couple of students that went through the color material design path. They typically would have the interior design, and maybe they have a minor in textiles or a minor in craft. There's always that possibility where you have your discipline, your guide, and then a minor to push on those hands-on skills to kind of embrace that a little bit more. We have exhibit designers. As you know, we carry the auto show in Michigan, and there's a ton of houses of exhibit designs here, which actually leads to a lot of interior designers working in that discipline. Facility design and furniture specification or retail design, it's all in houses in Michigan, but at the same time you have in the discipline of Michigan, because we have Hayworth, Steelcase in the Michigan state, we're kind of routing into those areas where those are really connecting with you. And there's a lot of industry relationships that we built through the 4 years that help you with that too as well. So as you can see, there's a big list, but I just wanted to kind of categorize a little bit of the ones that we typically we're going to see samples coming up. So industry relationships, we build something that is called sponsor projects. Currently, we're running a sponsor project with a company. A company comes in, talks to us about a particular project to be built with the students. We take the opportunity of 15 weeks. We do it collaborate, we do it individual, depends on the project, the type of project that we're working on. Right now, we're looking at a company itself and how is the product of that company impacting spaces. So students are building these environments to reflect on that. In the past, we have done projects with the Detroit Public Libraries. We are going to see a couple of samples too as we move on. And then there's a lot of resources from 3D printing, large format plotters, the material library, the software. There's tons of software. And also we do a lot with the laser cut. I love playing with the laser cut. I spent all morning today playing with the laser cut and the students, and they came up with a ton of creative materials. So this one, for example, is a sponsor project we did with a company called Quicken Loans. And they were doing a booth on NIAS, which is the auto show. And hopefully it will play properly. There we go. So the idea of the booth was located in the Naya's Auto Show, which is the Kobo Hall, now carrying a different name these days. And this is the booth. And the image that you saw, the rendering, this is a collaboration between communication design and interior designers. And that image pretty much will get you to walk through what is out there, what's in Detroit, what other places can I connect with, and how can I go and enjoy. It's not just about coming in and seeing the transportation, like auto show, literally the car, but really enjoying what the city has to offer, what things would bring in. So here's a couple of the samples, and here you could see the projection. There was a little map that you would push and say, well, what if I go to the what was I, campus marshes, what would I expect, what would be that environment, and it would walk me through, it would give me directions, and would tell me what different things and activities I could do while I was in Detroit. So this is one example. Typically when we do this, students get either a scholarship, it goes towards tuition, or sometimes they get opportunities to travel. It all depends on the sponsor and the opportunities they want to bring to the students. The next one that I want to show you is a sample of a company called, actually a sponsor project with Henry Ford. And Henry Ford had the idea of really understanding the cancer area, the cancer patients, and how that area was, it was very sterile, and how to find ways to help the actual patient to have a little bit more comfort. So this was the result of it. So Henry Ford uses to be able to actually build their own institute, which is right now it's up and running. So this was a couple of years ago. Oops. Previous internships of interior design students are different companies, but it's good to highlight that BMW Design Works, Knoll in New York, Smith Group is in Detroit, TMP is an architectural company also based in Bloomfield Hills, Rossetti's Detroit, Nike Portland. So there's a couple of students that we see everywhere. Illuminating Concept is about lighting, so that is actually here in Michigan. Exhibit Works also is an exhibit company, so you're going to see a little bit of, again, I brought a couple of samples of what alumni is doing. So here we start talking about the alumni. The first one is going to be Cassie, Julie, Ashley, Mark, and Andres. Let me show you a little bit. And here is Cassie. Cassie is the creative director for Cadillac. The sample that we're showing actually is her Cadillac Motors on Nias, on actually the auto show. And that same booth was taken to New York. So it's a sample. It's about two years ago. You could kind of see her work, what she's doing. She works with FCA, USA Today, and Martha Stewart too. So there's more samples in the Cadillac brand and the auto show booth. And here's Julie. Julie is a creative designer for General Motors. These days, she's actually focusing on sustainability. All her efforts goes towards sustainability. And we put an example of her 2024 color predictions in terms of trends. And she's also has a jewelry. Remember how I told you that there were students that would do a minor? To tell here, her minor was on craft in jewelry. And she has her own company called Fate and Coincidence, if I say it properly. And you can find her on Instagram, and she produces a lot of jewelry, personal jewelry with hands-on materials. She's very intuitive with terms of natural materials. So you'll see a little bit of that. This is Ashley Hansen. Ashley worked with, right now she's a color material designer for Nike. She's located in Portland. And in the right, I have her exhibit that she did for her senior year, where she translated all of us to Mars about what would be life in Mars. So every time you would walk into a booth, you would wear your goggles and you could actually transport into different areas of where would you be in Mars. So here, I don't know if you could see over here, you could see the little goggles here. You would put your phone, you had a QR code, put them on, and you would travel around. This is Mark Hall. Mark Hall works with the Public Lighting Authority of Detroit. He believes in the city. He's very outspoken. He actually, a few years ago, he was on the news talking about how do we need to preserve our architecture. So Mark, here's a sample when he was a student again. He was one of these projects where he did some rendering. And this is Andres Saavedra. And Andres works as an interior designer on the team. And this particular project was in LaGuardia Airport, the Power Bay shop. So let's see if we can make it. It's not working. And there was a small video, but for some reason it's not clicking. Maybe I have to click again. No. All right, I apologize if they don't work, but there's some more videos we have at the end. And this is current student work. I just wanted to show you a little bit of, you know, a junior kind of sophomore, junior level work. So here's one. This one in particular talks about an office space. And they actually work with a client, and here's the space planning that they produce. And the final walkthrough. As you could see, this one, there's a combination of SketchUp and Enscape. That's the software being used on the rendering. And we help you, you know, as you're learning, as you're going through the different stages of software, you're going to learn how to do walkthroughs, you're going to learn how to do camera views, you're going to then learn how to build that into the virtual reality and how to, again, tell that story, walking through your goggles if you want to do goggles, QR codes, 360 degrees where you actually snap the QR code and you're inside the space with your phone, but you're looking up and down and everywhere in your environment. Here's the yoga room, because it's important that we carry a balance at work. Oh, and for this student, it was important in her life to have a pet. So she wanted to make sure that the environment had a space for pets to be groomed, to have a half a day of playground while they come to work. That's where that one came from. You can see the application of materials. You can see the application of light. Light reflection, natural light. We also look at, you know, where the light is coming from during a day, what different types of lights we're using, how do we create environments with textures, and how those textures are going to impact the interior space. All right, and then we go into, oops, admissions and admissions question. But at this point, I want Carla, before you start this, would you mind sharing with us those movies that I thought they would be great for them to see? Oops. Carla, are you there? Did I lost her?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Yes, I will share the videos, but that's not the one I wanted to share. Apologize. Hold on one second. Here we go. Okay. I just need to double check that the sound is going to come across here. And here we go.
In fall of 2019, I got some friends together. They're all musicians and extremely talented ones at that. I proposed to them a project in which I designed spaces based off songs they produced during a time of intentionality, all instrumental, all from the heart. Thus, Resonance was born. Resonance is an installation-based gallery centered on the qualities of sound and its ability to evoke a peaceful state of being. With cello, piano, and the human voice, each installation exists in its respective space, allowing visitors to fully immerse themselves in each song. In wake of the COVID-19 crisis, we've been physically separated from reality. No one is or was prepared to deal with a pandemic like this. Having real relationships with others and peace seem far out of reach right now, and for some, that's the only thing they cling to. Resonance aims to bring peace to the restless soul through music. If we cannot be together physically, then use this time to connect with each musician visually and sonically. Allow yourself to be observant and intentional. Resonate.
Okay, and we're going to show you the next one. Here we go. so those are the videos. They're really some amazing work. So thank you, Sandra, for sharing those with us. So right as we began that I'm Carla Gonzalez, and I am Director of Admissions at the College for Creative Studies. And I am here to give you a little bit of insight into what we look for and how to apply. Thank you for putting that slide up, Sandra. So I know some people generally have questions about, you know, how to apply and things like that. So I just wanted to give you a very quick overview. So if you're interested in starting school in September, so fall of 2021, so about, you know, 9 months from 10 months from now, you do want to begin to apply now. So we have a free online application form that you can find on our website. There's an apply button in the upper right-hand corner. You need to send us your high school or college transcript. So if you're a transfer student, you're going to send us the transcript that you have that is currently in progress or your most recently completed semester. And if you're a high school student, you are going to send us your transcript right now, even if you don't have grades yet for part of your senior year. That's perfectly normal. Everybody is applying at the same time. Just be aware you don't have to have any senior year grades on your transcript in order to apply. And then we need to see some of your work. So we have a minimum of 8 pieces required for your portfolio. And we are encouraging you just to simply send us your strongest work. And if you I'll show you a web page in a moment that will give you some additional support and information about what it is we are looking for in a portfolio, with some portfolio samples as well. So just give me a moment to work through this, and then I'll show you that page as well. For any international student whose first language is not English or who is not fluent in English, we do need an English language test score. And so that can be any of the following: a TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, ACT or SAT score. But please note, anybody who has been educated in an English speaking program does not need to submit that English language test score. We just need to verify that your language of instruction was English, and we'll be good to go. So CCS does not require a standard test score for all applicants. So you do not need to submit an ACT or SAT test score to apply. And then also I want to mention that we do have our December 1 early action deadline coming up. So we do encourage all applicants to try and meet that deadline, because you can be considered for our highest tuition scholarships. But we also have a February 1st priority deadline, and we also have generous scholarships available for that deadline as well. So on average, our merit-based scholarships are about $20,500. And that's per year that we offer that. So any merit-based scholarships that you might be offered are given for 4 years, or if you're a transfer student, however many years you are enrolled to complete your degree. I'm going to share my screen again, and I am going to show you the homepage for CCS's website, right? So it's collegeforcreativestudies.edu. You'll see our beautiful Apply Now encouragement button here. There's also additional information on this page that can be helpful to you, like upcoming portfolio days, virtual admissions events and appointments, other major insight events like this one that you may be interested in joining. But if you go to our homepage, there is a tab here called Admissions. And if you, well, first I should say, there's also a tab here called Academics. And if you select Interior Design, it will take you to this page where you can get more information about interior design. You can see more student work, department videos, information about faculty, the alumni profiles, news and events, all of these amazing things. We do keep that up to date, so you can get lots of information here.
Carla, I just wanted to promote that Instagram also, we're updating kind of daily what the students are doing. So if you follow us on Instagram interior design page, it's great. We see like what's happening day to day. We typically post in there.
Perfect. Can you post that in the chat so that the kids can use that readily? That's awesome. Great ad. So, but under the admissions tab, there's an undergraduate admissions page, which gives you all the information about admissions requirements, the deadlines. So I mentioned the form, transcript, and portfolio here. We do have a student portal. So once you apply, you can check up on the status of your application. And I should clarify that you do not need to submit all parts of your application together. You can fill out the online application form tonight. It takes about 10 minutes. It's really very simple. And then follow up with your transcript and your portfolio. Filling out the application form now, honestly, makes it a bit easier for you simply because your admissions counselor is then going to help walk you through the following parts of the process and sort of send reminders and help you, answer your questions. If you're trying to figure out what to put in your portfolio and you need some guidance, we're absolutely happy to help you with that. You'll see here, there's information about transferring credit to CCS. There's information about portfolio requirements. I'm going to show you that real quick. There's a short video here by Brandy Keeler, who's our amazing, actually assistant director of admissions. And she gives you some information on the portfolio. And then here you'll see we have these 3 columns that help you know what it is we're looking for by department. So you'll notice here interior design is on this left-hand column. We are asking you to submit any genre of work. I think one of the things people or students like you often assume is that you have to have experience in the major you're applying to. And I want to make it clear that that is not the case. You're coming to CCS to learn something that you may not have ever had exposure to before. We get that. We totally understand. What we're looking for in your portfolio is simply to get an understanding of what your current skill set is, what your interests are, what you're passionate about. And we're asking you to show us that through some visual work that you've created. So it can be anything that includes photography, video work, sculpture, if you make jewelry, paintings, drawings, digital design work, digital images, digital illustrations, if you make installation work, if you are a printmaker, whatever it is, please don't feel like you can't share that with us simply because you may have an interest in interior design. We just want to see what your skills are, what you have had exposure to. And so don't feel like you can't apply with those pieces. I also want to mention here that we do have an opportunity for you to request an online portfolio review. This is really an opportunity for you to get feedback on what you're considering submitting for your application. And it just gives us an opportunity to give you feedback, help you select work to put in a portfolio, help kind of give you some perspective. Because I know as an artist myself, we can be really hard on ourselves and expect perfection or a lot. And we're really sometimes afraid to share work before, unless we really, really, really feel like it's finished. But I can tell you that we are also interested in understanding your thought process and the work you create and move towards a final piece. So, having an informal review really just helps us help you define what you should be submitting and helping you feel a little bit more confident about the choices you're making. So if you want to request a review, simply click this button and it'll take you to a short form that you can submit. Also here under the additional portfolio tips and recommendations, there's some information about observational drawing, which you don't need to submit observational drawing for interior design. If you draw, that's great. You're welcome to submit that, but you don't have to. But what I want to call your attention to is right here. This area that says suggested assignments for students with little or no art background, or if you feel like you don't have enough work for your portfolio for submission. We do have some suggestions of projects that you could make to sort of bolster the number of pieces you have for your portfolio. So just wanted to call your attention to that in case it's something that could help you out. In addition, I'm just going to point to the little apply button up here. When you click this button for interior design, you are going to select undergraduate program, which is the leftmost box. And if you're on a phone, I believe it comes at the top. And then it's going to ask you to create an app or start an application. You're going to create a username and password. That's an email that you check, please, and a password. And then once you do that, you're going to be able to fill out that online application form. This is also the page where you can log in and check in on the status of your application. Once you, it'll tell you if we've received your portfolio, if we have your transcript, and we will post your admission decision there as soon as we have that. So usually once we have all the parts necessary to make an admissions decision, we'll make that within 48 hours of receipt of those things. So just letting you know that. And I'm gonna stop talking so we can get to questions. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause our recording or stop our recording.